Hi, Stuart from That Sweet Life. Just thought I'd give you a quick update video regarding celebrity. I've done the restaurants. I just thought I'd give you a little bit more about the activities that we did. But I thought I'd give you a bit more background of the sailing that we went on. So it may be indicative of what we experienced, and therefore that's one of the things that you, if you book this, may not experience the same that we did. But when we went on a sailing that had a capacity of 560 people. That's right, 560 with zero children. Almost unheard of for a ship the size that it is. Holds over 2,000 people, not including the crew, obviously, but over 2,000, and this had only 560. Now, that being said, there were points on the cruise where some acts got on and off, and it looks like some of those acts may have had children because one of the last days there was a child in the children's club. But we were all surprised when that happened. So it was one of those things, that it was mainly adults only. Absolutely fantastic time. It does make me think, you know what? If that's what it's like, that's what it's like. That's brilliant. That works for me. That does. It just works for me. However, I get the feeling it's not common because it was made a point of that there was no children. So, whilst the acts could go a little bit more adult orientated, I don't think that they did, especially the comedy ones. Now, some of the things that we went to see a couple of the shows, and they were fantastic. I wouldn't say they were any better than the NTL shows that we've been to. They were good though. They were good. I do get the impression that based on what I was seeing, that they'd only just got over COVID and they were just trying to get the show out. Now, it doesn't mean to say it was rushed, it was unprofessional, none of that. It was a great show. I do think that sometimes NCL big shows, which is what I class this as, sometimes outrank it, and that's my personal opinion. Now, some of the shows that we went to were okay, some of them were fantastic. I still think that NCL outdoes them in that aspect. I think the entertainment on Norwegian is one of the primary things. There are a lot of downsides to Norwegian, in my personal view, where celebrity just completely ace it at the park. There is no question which one I now prefer. However, entertainment is not one of those things. Now, one of the other things that we enjoyed was visiting the bars, getting to know the staff, watching the martini bar staff do the martini shows. We even got to a point where we were going to watch a particular show, and we decided we were willing to miss it to watch the lead bartender pour 50 martinis out of the glasses into separate glasses, and each one was a different colour or different gradient of colour and so on and so forth. Basically, each colour was different from one to the next, and it was a fantastic show. That, in my view, is the better entertainment. Sometimes that. They also, in the atrium area, the forum area, if you like, they had a singing show that was absolutely fantastic. One of the things that I would probably say, they had two of those when we sailed. Both absolutely fantastic, but you had to get there early, otherwise you just wouldn't get a spot, and that was including just having 560 people on board. So, when they do this kind of show, it is likely to get absolutely ram-packed, and with the times being the way they are, I'm not sure there's that comfortableness that I would feel doing that. I think I'd probably get there early. I'd probably get a bar seat. I'd probably, whether you go for the draft house, or you go for the martini bar, or you go for one of the other bars that still give you the view, but not necessarily where you need to be. So you can still hear all the music, you can still hear the show and see the show. I just necessarily don't want to be where all the people are. Maybe you feel the same way. Possibly you don't. Maybe that's one of the bits that gives you the atmosphere that perhaps sometimes the bigger ships give you. Now, I personally, I kind of like the more intimate things. It was fantastic in my view. One of the other bits that I wanted to mention about the Celebrity Silhouette, from our point of view, is although I've covered the restaurants, one of the things that I didn't cover was the buffet. We visited it one time. Don't have an issue with it. Just the one time that we visited it, there was a reasonable amount of choice. I do think that the pandemic had some sort of impact on how much they were offering, and I do think that was such an impact that I think that that's one of the reasons why we had at the other eateries. That being said, my main gripe about the restaurant is the opening times. I think somehow they did restrict the opening times. I'm quite an early riser. I tend to like going for go grab a cup of coffee, go have a walk around the lap, the top deck lap a couple of times, drinking a cup of coffee, having a walk around, trying to get some exercise, trying to lose a few pounds. Not working, but trying to lose a few pounds. And yeah, it seemed a difficult thing to traverse with Celebrity on trying to get. I know that they had staff there, but everything was boarded off, and the main bits that I'd want to get, I wouldn't necessarily want a full breakfast, I wouldn't necessarily want a bite to eat, but I may want a cup of coffee or a soda. At this point it was more a cup of coffee. I'd had a sleep, like I said, I'm an early riser. I'd had a sleep, I want a cup of coffee. Trying to get that proved a little bit more difficult. I think, in all honesty, the times I was going were not really the times it was open. Entertained the fact that I was there, but I'm not entirely sure that that's indicative of the experience I should have had with Celebrity, mainly because of the times we're in, so they kind of cut back on the hours. But I think if you're going on Celebrity in the future, and I do plan to go on Celebrity in the future, I plan to do the Silhouette again. I do a British Isles one, absolutely, or even slightly further afield, just go from Southampton somewhere else. But I do think that it'd be slightly indicative that we have a different experience, and I think the pandemic had something to do with that. Now, I still enjoyed it. It was still fantastic. Should you do it? I'd say yeah. Even in a suite, you can enjoy it. I missed my kettle. I missed the ability to make a drink if I wanted to, so I didn't have to go out. But was the places open? I managed to make do. I managed to find things. I do think that they don't necessarily cater very well for the people that are up earlier. I think what they cater for is the people that go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, don't wake up until well after 9, and I think that's how they cater for things. I think that the people that don't tend to do, that may sleep till midnight and then wake up, 5, 6 in the morning for some, whatever reason, because the ship's moved, that you can't get back to sleep and you want a cup of coffee. I think that that's the only bit that is missing. I hope you found this good. Please give us a like and subscribe. Everything helps, and I hope you're safe and well.